Hello loves, how are you? Welcome to another broadcast. This video is going to be all about how to manifest fame, and I'm going to give an example of how I did it and how you can as well. And it only took me 3 days to do this, to manifest this. And as you would well know, I'm talking about me manifesting being cast on the Cottage Core from the Hello Sunshine production, which is, part owner is Reese Witherspoon. So I remember now, I had this on my vision board back in 2018. And if you go on my blog, you will see my vision board for there. And it says, it has an old vintage television on the vision board. And it says, my own reality show. Now, for whatever reason, I was just wanting that back when I was married to my ex-husband, and it got no legs. And I couldn't understand why, because we were so close. Now understanding, I know, because the ex didn't want that to happen, but I had no clue at that time. I just didn't understand why, he was putting off, talking to production and talking to directors and talking to these casting and all of that. Like, I never knew what was going on behind the scenes. But anyway, the point being is that that was one of my desires. So I had kind of pushed it out. After Sawyer died, I didn't give two flips about a reality show. I really didn't. But one day, this was 3 days before I got the text. So you would think, now see, if I were to have allowed all of these circumstances to be in my way, then I would have never manifested it, because back when they contacted me, I had like 236 followers on Instagram. And the industry and the community of the Cottage Core is so enormous that you would maybe look at me and go, well, why would no one would ever call her? No one would ever hire her, right? So I was taking a bath one day. This was 3 days before I got a contact. So I was taking just my typical normal bubble bath with my candles and all of that. And I like to visualize in the bathtub. Now, I'm a mermaid, obviously. I love to swim. I love to take baths. I'm a bath taker, not a shower taker. And so I was just enjoying with my candles and, listening to my lovely little, Victorian music and all of that. I just was, just bathing and like, oh, and I remember thinking like, oh, and I was just talking, how like you imagine things like, oh, this would be lovely, like you're doing affirmations in the shower or whatever. I was just going in my imagination like I always do. This is exactly how I manifest everything, because if you know anything about Pisces, we're all extremely just like Neville and just like Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks is both Pisces as well. And I'm also a Pisces, so we have a great, great imagination. And so I will just start thinking of all these things and just keep going, continuously going in my imagination. So I was just like talking about like, oh, I would love to live in a little stone thatch roof cottage, and and I was just having a go with things. And I said, what would be so lovely? And I said, we self-talk, like that's a normal thing. Neville Goddard talks about self-talk all the time. And so I was self-talking and I said, it seems to me, Spirit, that isn't there anyone that's like really, really famous, that really, really has a lovely personality, that they're like a really nice person, probably in real life, super famous, and that has something to do with having books published, because that would be really, really neat to have my book published, my little books published, and for them to look just like Beatrix Potter's books, all of that kind of thing. Wouldn't that be so super wonderful and fabulous? And I said, you know, Spirit, there has to be someone out there in the world, but I've not seen anyone ever. And so obviously then I just went about, you know, got out, dried off, you know, all of that sort of thing, and didn't think anything else about it. So about 3 days, I get a direct message from one of my dear English friends. And she says, love, I have been contacted by Hello Sunshine, you know, to see if I would want to interview for this place as a cast on reality show. And I'm an English gal, thought to recommend you, and sent them off your pictures and your Instagram handle because would you like to do it? Because this was one of the stipulations. Cottage Core obviously stems from England. Do you understand? I always say that. That's one of my little cliche sayings, you know. Do you understand? Yeah, so Cottage Core really stems from the English countryside back in the old-timey days, right? Really, really far back, probably in the 1500s. Cottage Core has been always a thing. It's just not become popular until the pandemic. And obviously I had just started taking my British course. Don't sound probably like an English British person, but I have a bit of an accent. And one of the stipulations, like I said, is that you have to be in America. Like, this is the United States thing. You have to be in America to be cast on this show. Other reasons that just fell into my lap was because you would never think that I would have been cast for this show. Like, there's loads of other people that have like enormous accounts, but see, that worked against them. Not only that, that worked against them having a large audience. You have to be in America, but you also have to be someone that literally, it's a competition show. You have to be very calm on camera. You can't be shy. You can't be fake. You have to be on camera, and you have to be comfortable with that. And so there was many variables that really tossed people to the side that did not qualify because of these many, many things that they had on this list. Then obviously I said yes, and they interviewed me and then waited, and I had to go before a board, then they have to wait, and then you have to go before, you have to interview, you have to do, loads of things that you've got to do before you're even like, hey, we're interested in you, you know what I mean? So anyway, in the process of that, I'm sitting there thinking like, Hello Sunshine, like, never heard of it. Like, I had never heard of Hello Sunshine. I didn't know Reese Witherspoon was the full owner, and then she sold, portions of it off, and how much it was worth, and like the enormity behind that. I didn't know. And then furthermore, come to find out, he has her own thing of books, and where she literally has books published and movie rights, and she buys the movie rights to these books and So I got all of that manifestation. Like, obviously it's not come to full fruition yet, but do you understand? Like, I had no resistance to that. I just literally said something that I had no clue about, but that they actually do. And everyone knows, as far as I'm concerned, she's a Southern girl, and she seems to be a lovely person. She seems to be quite kind, seemingly, she's like America's sweetheart. And I've always loved her movies. How that all came about, it was just very natural, very normal, very like, yeah, it's great and wonderful. And you also have to understand too, like, if that came crumbling down and it never went any further, or like, say they shelved it, or say like it just didn't happen, that I still feel as though I stepped into that reality no matter what still my 3D is showing me. Still my 3D isn't showing me like my book's published, I'm on a reality show, on a major network. None of that, you cannot see that still today. I don't have big numbers on my account. No one still knows about me and the cast and the show and all of that. But I stepped into that person and became that person when that happened to me. And therefore, it has to play out the screen space of my reality, because I took on, I am famous. I am famous. So this is another form of the manifestation, is that you have to step in, like literally, you've got to like, whatever you need to do to like literally say, you're not waiting on anything. I'm not waiting to feel inside. Feeling is the secret, right? I'm not feeling as though when I'm on television, when my book is published, when my Instagram numbers go up, then I'm famous. No, I'm already famous. I already stepped into that to be that person that I am. So the universe doesn't know whether something is real or not, because everything is energy, right? So it's just like Christian people would talk about. You have to believe it to see it, and faith precedes the miracle. This is what it means. You have to have faith that you are already that person. I'm already that famous person. And there's no other option but it to showcase on the screen space of reality, is that it's going to become where you will see it. No one sees it right now, which that's fine, because that doesn't stop me from believing that I am already that person. So if you have no resistance and you just speak things into the universe and you believe in that, because like I said, I've imprinted new beliefs. I already imprinted those new beliefs. The whole 3 years that I began speaking British, I began, the RP, modern RP is what technically, if you were wondering, that actually helped me for the reality show, because I'm actually an American, but I speak with an accent. So that was to the advantage. But all of these things, these are the dots connecting that I had no clue. The reality show was also a manifestation of my vision board. Reese Witherspoon has a publishing house that she has these books done into movies and all of that, which I had no clue, like literally no clue. Like I'm like head in the sand, like, or should I say mermaid's head in the sand. And so I had no clue. I couldn't have planned that or orchestrated that in 3 lifetimes. It's impossible. But if you allow the universe to do all of the work, all our employment is to create the vision. And then there's no resistance. The universe makes it happen. Literally, it was 3 days. It was literally 3 days. And I got that direct message from my friend from England. The universe works in mysterious ways, loves. So that is the truth. I mean, I didn't go into absolute details or anything like that, but this is like a little success story to help you to be encouraged that there is nothing that you cannot manifest. And so in the next video, I'll tell you another thing that is really, really interesting. If you enjoyed this video, if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you wanted to share this, I would be so appreciative. Thank you so much. And as always, I'm most affably yours till my next swim. Cheers, darlings. Toodle pip.